What up, cappers, gamblers, punters, hustlers, low baggers? Happy Monday to all of you. A new week begins, and it is the week before All-Star break in Major League Baseball, which is tricky. It is tricky. I also got LASIK eye surgery on Friday, so a little tripped out. Can see much better. Only got the one eye. They're only doing one eye at a time, so I can see all of the comments on both the YouTube and the StreamYard. So that should help. I figure that should help long term. Shout out to all the cappers. Well, it'll definitely improve my quality of life at sporting events, but it is a little tripped out. It's going to help at the horse track, So that's all that's really important here. You need to be able to see the action in front of you. Thank you guys so much for joining us here. We got Pig Milk Play today in Belgium to advance at plus 105. This is a big day for me and for anybody who followed the futures that were given out by Flash, also accompanied by Jose Bouquet. Flash has put money in our pocket in every single major event that we've had since I left Costa Rica. He's been just a huge asset to the squad. And shout out to Von Polo. Von Polo was like, you got to get Flash on. And I was a little behind the time. So I made 5 future bets, and they're the only bets I've made. And they're in play here. So we cashed America to win the group, but America to reach the quarters at plus 333. It's a big score is in play. Also, I need Egypt to lose because I have Morocco at plus 225 as the top African squad. So those are both in play. Huge opportunity for me. As I said, we won the America to win the group, but we lost Netherlands to win it all. I actually bet less on that, with the 20-1. I don't usually do that, but this time I did bet less on it, so not as big of a factor. And then the only thing we have remaining is France at plus 500. Swiggy's got it as well. So it's exciting. It's exciting stuff, but it goes against Pig Milk, which is a concern. Stacks play today is in number 1. It is Devers. Is he the most unpopular guy in baseball right now? Over 1.5 bases at plus 140. And then the Seattle Storm plus 3.5. I think that I'm going to be on the other side of that. I'm scared now. I was 100% certainly going to be on the other side of that until now, seeing it Stacks play today. So now I haven't moved on. I know what I want to do in WNBA, but now I think I'll, heed some your thoughts here and maybe take a step back. I'm looking forward to cap it. We have a smaller card that we can really deep dive into. Jose Perez in the house, Nicholas Handy, Johnny Bender, Drew Skilosa in the house. Great to see you, buddy. Colin Gregory, Walla Dose, the Salty Goat in the house. Salty Goat ready to work. A Fireside ready to go. Gerald Jones, Turnbuckle Tommy. We got Markel, AM, Paul T, Low Key. Blue Jays Giants under 7.5 to play today for Keys here. We're hoping to get Keys here on camera more as we move forward here. Let me just copy and paste our guy. Low Key production. Unfortunately, Low Key's not going to be able to rock with us at Woodbine, but for those of you out there, we are rocking a Woodbine Saturday, August 22nd. We're going to have all the artwork and promo up here this week before the All-Star break. But if you are in the Toronto area, or if you're within, 8 to 10 hours, you come rock with us at Woodbine. It's the Saturday after the Kings play. It's going to be quiet. We're going to have the whole the Stella Artois Lounge to ourselves. It's a pretty spectacular place to watch horses. So keep that in mind here. We got Eyeball in the house. Josh Quayle, thank you. Got it 10 years ago. I got it in 2015, but it fell off here. Louisville Gambler. There's our friend Nasty Nate in the house. There was a death in the family for Nasty Nate, and a very difficult one to deal with. So if we could all just take a second and send Nasty Nate and his family as much love and strength through tough times. I mean, as a family, to have a guy like Nasty Nate to to help carry you through the tough times is they're very fortunate, but it's not easy. It's very difficult. So if we could all take some time to send strength and love to Nasty Nate and his family, it's he said some very he's a very wise man, and he sent some things in text just to show his strength and show that he's ready to carry the family through it. But good God, is it difficult? So our thoughts are with you, Nate, and our love, man. I mean, Nate he's we talk about Jose being the backbone of the pub for so long, but for us and for us as our group and our community, I mean, it'd be very, very easily said that Nasty Nate is the backbone of our group, man. Always pumping positivity, always getting excited about Pubapalooza, and he is like the driving force of the fun at Pubapalooza. I mean, he's just such a great guy. So if we can give something back to somebody who gives so much to us, now would be the right time to do that. Paul T, Nate Dog 420 in the house. And Jeff Slaughter says, I'll be tailing from beautiful and dried up Retama Park. Shout out to Retama Park. Josh Witt, ready to go. Tat to Cliff, ready to go. Thank you, guys. Dewan Turrentine. A lot of love going out to our friend Nate. Serious Business, 462 for life. Guillermo Zertucci. Thank you guys so much for rocking with us. Let's get right to work. Here. I'm excited about this card. I've only moved on one bet in MLB, but there's certainly a lot to talk about in these 8 games, and certainly a lot of opportunities and possibilities for us as well. So let's roll. One thing that I just realized now, that with the LASIK eye surgery, I don't need to enlarge my shot, which will help me, because that's when it starts lagging on my end, and then I question whether it's lagging on another, if it's lagging. So this, I think, will help us. I think there's going to be a lot. I just realized that will help. Paul T says, going to Ottawa, first time in Canada. Anything I'm missing or should do? Well, Paul T, Ottawa is a fun city. It's pretty fun. That downtown core, the market's pretty fun. You want to go to there's a comedy club down there in the market. I could hook you up with I can get you tickets to some comedy shows on the house if you hit me up on X here. It's I like being in the market. I like being downtown Ottawa. I would go down there for lunch, then go down there probably to party or whatever. I'm trying. Do you really want to go to the Parliament buildings? They're okay. They're probably worth a walk. It's a nice walking city. The strip clubs aren't like Montreal's, so you might want to head off to Montreal one more, or just go across the bridge to Hull, which was called Hull. Now it's called Gatineau. You have to yell it too when you say it to anybody. But just cross the bridge to Gatineau for their dirty strip clubs. And yes, you'll probably send me a thank you letter. Okay. Let's Paul T. Yeah. So yeah, hit me up. I could hook that up here. I could hook that up for you, man. You're with your girl and her mom. Okay, that will take away from the dirty strip clubs. In Gatineau! You got to yell it, though. You got to remember that. Anytime you talk about the bridge, you got to scream Gatineau in people's faces. They love it. All right, let's get to work. 2:20 p.m. Eastern. Philadelphia Phillies 50-40, 25-19 on the road at the Kansas City Royals 36-54, 20-26 at home. We are at Kauffman Stadium in Kansas City, Missouri. Let's get right into the weather situations. There's not too much for us to worry about weather-wise. The most offensive situation, Nationals Park, plus 5%. The most run-suppressing situation, Oracle Park's only minus 7%. So there's not much going on either spot here. Plus 2% runs here at Kauffman Stadium, plus 13% homers, minus 3% doubles and triples, and minus 1% singles. The great Christopher Sanchez on the hill here, 10-3, 2.00 ERA, 2.90 expected ERA, 1.09 WHIP. Look, he is. Aaron Nola. What the hell? Did something change? Okay, no, we got to fix that. Let's pull Nola. It's not Nola Avila. We got to pull the there, so we pull it up. Christopher Sanchez is on the hill for the Philadelphia Phillies. So let's talk about Sanchez a little bit here. And the main thing for me is we've seen this massive move towards the Philadelphia Phillies. Now, Noah Cameron is a shadow of his self, his 2025 self. So we've seen massive, massive line movement towards the Philadelphia Phillies, which would lead you to say, okay, well, look, this is they're not a home team, so this is not a situation where we're dealing with a cash cow, but it certainly feels that way. So the issue for me, and even the huge move on the full game, which we will get to, there's also a massive move on the first 5. Now that came later. I could easily be sitting here with Sanchez, in my pocket, but the last 2 road starts did concern me, and I'm not sure if there's anybody that it wouldn't concern. Look, if you're going to take a huge favorite, you have to have almost no concerns. The last 2 road starts for Christopher Sanchez at the Brewers and at the Nationals, he's allowed 9 earned runs combined over 10 2/3. Now, you could very fairly say, look, the Royals don't hit lefties like those other teams. That wouldn't even be the case. The Royals are hitting lefties pretty hard. The Phillies are the ones that aren't. I started putting this together, and I was like, I'm not gonna let's look at the other side. Let's look at Noah Cameron. Noah Cameron, 4-6, 4.95 ERA, 1.41 WHIP. He's got a 4.88 expected ERA. Last time we saw Noah Cameron, Tuesday, June 30th, he was terrible. He'd seen the Rays in back-to-back starts. He had a bad start the first time he saw the Rays. I thought that maybe he would pitch okay here. Look, if you're sitting here waiting for Noah Cameron to be the 2025 version of himself, you're going to be losing money. And I know that because I have lost money because of cognitive biases of who Noah Cameron was in 2025, who he's not in 2026. Now, Billy Friedrich says, I think both starters shove here. And we got the truth teller in the house. Great to see you. Turnbuckle Tommy says Phillies a bottom 5 lineup for left-handed pitching. Tommy, I've been watching you crush, by the way. Let me just say over the last few weeks, because I copy and paste so much of what everybody's got in the comment section, and I go over it and just want to say that I'm really recognizing what you're doing, and it is impressive. Okay, so Robert Franklin, Philly money line and the under 8. Turnbuckle Tommy says on MGM, Phillies full games minus 220 and first 5 is only minus 200. You think Phillies would have a huge advantage in the first 5? Well, yeah, I guess so. I guess so. It's tricky with these huge favorites, generally speaking, unless you. And now Christopher Sanchez is an ace, so you're right. I think there's a lot of fairness to that. But Noah Cameron here shouldn't be trusted. It looked like he was coming together. He'd had some nice starts, and he actually had 5 nice starts between May 16th and June 7th. And I thought, okay, yes, we were ahead of the curve expecting him to pitch better. And that's not the case. Let's talk about the bullpens. Royals bullpen's been trash all year long. 5.93 ERA, 1.57 WHIP, while the Phillies bullpen sitting here at 4.75 ERA, 1.38 WHIP. And then when we go back to the sticks, something we've been talking about of recent, the Phillies versus lefties just aren't hitting. Now, you can say, look at the last 5 games, look at the last 10 games, and that's all valid. But I like focusing on the last 30 days. And the last 30 days versus lefties, 229, 652. Now, maybe as you can see from the graphics, maybe this is a time where I should be focusing on the last 15 days, which is, how TJ hammers things. So I guess that is a helpful. That is, if you're looking to get on the Phillies here, the fact that they've been hitting lefties harder the last 10 games is appealing here. Sharpie in the house says, metric-wise, this is a great matchup for Sanchez, a team who takes first pitch and swings at everything, plays into Sanchez, top of the league, chase contact. Yeah, obviously I think there's a difference between the 2 teams that just got to Sanchez when he was on the road, and that's the Nationals and the Brewers and their ability to hit lefties. But I think there's enough question marks here to not want a huge favorite. Shout out to Just My 2 cents in the house as well. So let's go through the line history. And look, I was as interested as I respect line moves like this, and I don't want to leave money on the table. Let me say that. But I think there's enough question marks to say, look, I don't know if I want it. We have the Phillies opening up at Bet Online at minus 165. They're now at minus 215. 50 cents of movement towards the Philadelphia Phillies. And then from a total standpoint here, we've had a move to the under. This was heavily juiced to the under at minus 125 at 8.5. And now it's an 8 to the over at minus 120. But I see a very sharp book here that's almost at a pick 'em at 8.5. So Billy Friedrich says, I've already bet the full game under, and he may add the first 5 under. It's nice that it's not extremely offensive weather as well. And then here we are at the cash flow. 88% of the tickets on the Phillies and 87% of the cash here. It's now moved up to 88 and 90. So, more and more money is moving towards the Phillies. 60% of the tickets on the over and 77% of cash on the over. And then we have Rod's Wacky in the house, who says bet against Philadelphia on the run line versus left-handed starters. Philadelphia's record during 2026, 9-25. Robert Franklin on the first 5 under 4.5. And there's TJ, who says this is a dead under, and the 8.5s are still available. I think that focusing on what these teams are doing versus left-handed pitching is very legit to be on the under. But I've got enough concerns here, honestly, with these last 2 road starts for Sanchez. I guess looking at it now in totality, I would agree with you guys that the full game under 8.5 seems like the most appealing spot on the board. Seems like the most appealing spot on the board at this point. But again, I need to go through these bullpens. I need things that just don't feel that comfortable for me. I will put the under 8.5 with question marks and review it again afterwards. And also, look, I want afternoon action. And it's hard for me to stay off spots that are, afternoon. But and Rod's White said, bet under the total in Kansas City Royal games after batting 225 or worse over a 5-game span. The unders record since 2024, 40 and 15 here. Says bet under the total. Is also from Rod in Philadelphia road games when playing against a bad team. Winning percentage 38-46. The unders record since 2025, 19 and 5. All right, in Turnbuckle Tommy says Sanchez at home, 0.86 ERA, 1.80 ERA in night games, but on the road he's a 3.89 ERA, 2.25 in day games. Says both scenarios not in favor of Sanchez today, day game on the road. I hear what you guys are saying about the under 8.5. I'm going to leave it there. I'd like to move on. But I had enough concerns about the favorite not to be on it. Let's roll on. This is my only bet that I've placed so far today, 6:40 p.m. Eastern. By the way, we should mention something here. I know we're talking Yankees, Rays, but one of the things that we talked about, sorry, the AC is being put in downstairs. I hope, let me know if you guys hear that and if there's something I can talk to them about. Oh, man. Let me know if you guys can hear that here. Can we? Audio fine. Okay, cool. So back to business here. Swiggy was talking about, what were the things that were working in my direction for this 55-unit move towards the over, this heavy, sorry, not to the over, 55-unit run that I've been on in the last 4 weeks. And the one thing that he talked about was that I've not had the horrible days. I've not had the bad days are days where I lose a unit or you lose a unit and a half. And Friday I had a bad day, really bad day, 5 and 11. I lost over 7 units. So I'm back in the red again. I'm down 2 units on the year with about 900 bets. So something I've been really staying away from happened to me on Friday. And so I don't want to pretend it didn't happen. So again, let's roll on. We got Lagar's own commentary in the house. Shout out to the city of Montreal and the province of Quebec. Lagar's on commentary. We were just talking about got to know a little bit earlier here. Let's go. Yankees, Rays. We're at the Trop in St. Petersburg, Florida here. And Sharpie says, lineup pending. Cam is my favorite K-prop. Says Rays take first pitch and in the zone, which is a no-no with Cam, who's striking people out 47% when having a 2 strikeout count while being in the zone 2% more than league average. So Rudy Cisneros in the house. Rod's wacky. G-Biz also. Great to see you, G-Biz. So this is the only bet I've made. It's on Cam Schlittler to bounce back here. I'm on the Yankees first 5 for me. We have Tuesday, June 30th, the last start from Schlittler was bad. 6 earned runs over 4 innings, and he allowed 4 home runs. It was a 9-3 loss at home versus the Tigers. It's when he went up against Skubal and he was terrible. When we saw him before then, Thursday, June 25th, he allowed 4 runs. Now, none of them were earned, but it was not a very, very good performance here. Oh, God, I'm trying so hard to stay focused. I'm trying to stay so hard to stay focused here. Okay. I'm sure they won't be smashing for too long downstairs. Friday, June 19th, was back to where he has been. He had 3 straight starts where he looked very good. He had the bad start on June 2nd. Now, our very own Mark Staszowski said that he had some suspicions when he was breaking down the stats that there was going to be regression from Schlittler. I think it's easy to say when how spectacular Schlittler has been, but I expect Schlittler to bounce back here. Going up against Griffin Jacks. Low-key says the book's begging us to bet the Yankees. Let's go over all of that because Griffin Jacks, 3.45 ERA, 1.27 whip here. We have more. TJ saying this line is begging for Yankees action. Said Schlittler opening up as a dog versus Jacksonville. But well, the Schlittler didn't open up as a dog. Schlittler opened up as a favorite first 5. So again, it's funny you guys see it this way. I don't see it this way at all. The Rays are 31-12 at home. It's funny how we can completely see this differently. Yankees are 6 games over 500 on the road without their best hitter. Would you have put the Yankees as a favorite against Griffin Jacks? Schlittler has looked vulnerable last week. It's funny that we see it so differently. I see it very differently. Now, I'm only on the Yankees first 5, but Griffin Jacks on the other side, 4-5, 3.45 ERA, 1.27 whip, 5.37 expected ERA. We have and BetOnline did as well. Pinnacle had a 19-cent difference. BetOnline had a pick'em first 5 as well. That's where I bet it. So, Turnbuckle Tommy says, I think this is one of the worst lineups you could see for bouncing back right now. Exactly, Rays are crushing. Look, the Rays are 31-12. Shouldn't they be a bigger favorite than this? TJ says, look at Jack's. Look at Jack's recent form in there. Pick him first 5. Jackson's been really good. So his last 4 starts, he's only had 1 start where he allowed more than 2 earned runs, and that was a quality start in his last start versus the Royals. So again, I see this very, very differently. We have Griffin Jacks, who has allowed 5 earned runs over his last 5 starts. 5 earned runs over his last 5 starts. He's been excellent. So yes, it's so like I'm not going to hammer this too hard, but we all see this very, very, very differently. I see the Rays should be a bigger favorite than this personally against the Yankees team scuffling with no Judge. Going up against the number 1 team in the American League by far, that's 31-12 at home. And again, Andrew G said Yankees haven't been hitting lately. They haven't been doing anything. Look at these stats. I mean, the only advantage they have is in the bullpen. Look at the sticks. Yankees versus righties, 216, 693 OPS. Rays versus righties, 273, 793 OPS. That's wild. Warbuck says Book's disrespecting Jacks. So this is a line that I see that I think is very I'm very comfortable here the way I see this. And again, I'm not going to hammer, like we all see this. I see this very differently than you guys. I guess I should leave it at that. Yankees are minus 103 full game over at Penny, and first 5 they're minus 115. So the Yankees full game have taken 7 cents over here at Penny. Look, I think this is. And maybe so I'm 10-2 my last 12 bets for Medicaid Monday, and we have Medicaid Monday, of course, right after this. At this point, I think this will be my Medicaid Monday bet. I like the Yankees first 5 very much here. I think it fits everything. I think it fits all the things that I'm looking for here. Let's get into the cash flow and the line history. So we've done the line history. We haven't done the total. This total has moved 5 cents to the under 7.5 from minus 115 to minus 120. Billy Freeman said any feelings on the full game total, and Paul T with the under, Robert Franklin with the over. I guess the under would appeal here. What do we have? We have 67% of the tickets on the over and 87% of the cash. 50% of the tickets and 89% of the cash on the Yankees. I guess, yeah, I think this is a playoff type baseball game. So I could see all of your, interest in the under. I think I could find interest in that as well. Let's just look at the prices here for the first threes and the first fives. The first three here for the unders minus 160. That's probably where it should be with a 7.5. With two great starters on the mound, juice to the unders minus 160 is pretty legit. I would have to take a 2, so I guess the full game under 7.5 is more appealing. Warbucks is on the Rays on the run line here. So yeah, I guess that the under does appeal. It does. Here. So Rod's Wife says road teams won the money line plus 125 to minus 125 after 3 straight games where they had 7 or fewer hits with a hot bullpen whose ERA under 2.50 over the last 15 games since 2017. The under is 47-18. So we have TJ on the rate. Well, I'm not on the Yankees full game. I'm just on them first 5. But yeah, we see this very differently. But let's roll on here from this point. I'm on the Yankees first 5. Not sure why TJ loves that we see it differently. You think that he would be comfortable with seeing it differently, not hoping that he sees it differently than me, not in love that we see it differently, which makes me want to lash out at him. So happy that we see it differently, sitting here jerking it because we see it differently. Well, it's your day, I guess, TJ. I guess it's your day. Hey, how could life get better than this? We see it differently. Okay, let's go on. Next spot on the board, 6:45 p.m. Eastern. Houston Astros, 45-47, 22-23 on the road at the Washington Nationals, 46-45, 18-27 at home. We're at Nationals Park in Washington, D.C. Let's get into the weather here at Nationals Park. This is the most offensive situation on the board, and man, just plus 5% runs. That's all we're dealing with. Plus 3% homers, plus 8% doubles and triples, and plus 4% singles. We have Swiggy saying 60% chance of rain here for this one. Let's take a closer look at the weather here hourly, just so we can feel like we have some control with these frequent thunderstorms. So the thunderstorms start at 7, and then scattered thunderstorms throughout the night. So it's 65% precipitation at first pitch, and then 35% precipitation after that. So this is a questionable spot here. So we don't need to put too much time into it, but let's roll through and do our due diligence. Let's start with Mike Burrows, 4-8, 5.58 ERA, 1.51 whip. He's got a 4.57 expected ERA. Last time we saw Burrows, well, we know the Burrows were sent to the bullpen mid-June. He was pitching bad. And then they gave him a start on June 24th, and it was at the Jays, and the market told us he was going to pitch well, and he did exactly that. He pitched really, really well. 1 earned run over 6 innings, 3 Ks, 1 walk, and a 3-1 win at the Jays. Tuesday, June 30th, last time we saw him, 4 earned runs over 5 innings at home versus the Twins. The Twins are hitting really hard. But look, I'm not going to sit here and be a part of the Mike Burrows fan club, which I was a part of last year, and I have not renewed my membership. Miles Michaelis, on the other hand, 5.44 ERA, 1.29 whip, 4.79 expected ERA. Look, with Michaelis, I don't know how they don't give him a primary. He had a primary for 8 straight appearances. So he was the primary for 8 straight appearances. He had an opener, I should say, for 8 straight appearances. And he started pitching better and better and better. Then all of a sudden they let him start. They're like, okay, you've got it, Miles. I don't know how you could look into that mustache and trust the man. June 29th, he started and he allowed 6 earned runs, and he got lit up immediately. I mean, we're talking immediately. So, Why would he not just have an opener again? I can't tell you why that is. When we get to the bullpens, this Astros bullpen's been pitching elite now. Remember that first month of the year, this was the worst bullpen in baseball. Now they're pitching very well. Astros versus righties, 242. Oh, sorry, let's go with the bullpen. 2.27 ERA, 1.03 whip. Nats bullpen, 5.74 ERA, 1.57 whip. And then when we talk about the sticks, Astros versus righties, 242, 758 OPS. Nats versus righties, 257, 68 OPS. They're both hitting very, very Billy says he appears to have some leche in that stash. So Fireside says Houston, for me, they have bombed Michaelis. And TJ says pen usage is an issue today for Houston. Hater, a no-go. Let's take a look at the line history then for the second spot on the board. 9.5 minus 120 to the over. Opener is now at 10 minus 105 to the opener over at Bet Online. So we've moved slightly towards the over. Not a huge move. Then on the money line here, we've seen a big move towards Burrows, a plus 104 from 2 plus 104 from plus 118. I think it's important to take a second look at the pen usage here because they're certainly implying, if things go haywire with storms or if there's a break in the game, that the Astros do have an advantage over the Nationals, despite the Nationals being at home. So let's just take a quick look at bullpen usage here, and then we can move past this spot. So we're going to start with the Astros bullpen usage here. So Hater, there's no chance you can go. Brian King can't go either back-to-back starts. Everybody else should be good to go. Here. Okert did throw 25 yesterday. They don't usually throw Okert back-to-back, so that's a bit of a problem. It's a bit of a problem, but and I say that when Okert goes for 20-plus pitches, they don't usually throw him back-to-back. So, yeah, I can see the concern there for the Astros. For the Nationals here, they don't have anybody on back-to-back, but, Brad Lord threw 50 yesterday, so he won't go. Justin Lawrence threw 25, so he's unlikely to go here. I don't really Billy Friedrich on the first 5 over 5.5. Yeah, I get that. It's a very high total, but I could see it, being in play. There's nothing at this point that really appeals to me. If I knew that there was no weather issues and that we were going to get for sure 5 innings of both Burrows and Michaelis, I would assume that the over 5.5 would be a look. I don't know if I can keep that assumption here. And it's not crazy offensive weather. I'm going to hold off at this point. Let's roll on to our next spot on the board here. And that is 7:35 p.m. Eastern. We head to Truist Park in Atlanta, Georgia. We have Mets, Braves going up against each other here in this spot. Sorry, just making sure I didn't miss any of the Stacks Play Today spots here. I almost moved on this game earlier. I stayed off, and we'll talk it out with you guys. Let's talk about the weather first. Even runs, plus 8% homers, plus 7% doubles and triples, and even for singles. Swiggy says another 49% chance of rain spot. So why don't we take another look at the weather here in Atlanta. Billy Friedrich says this may be a triple up spot on the Braves. Let's switch to Atlanta weather. Oh, sorry. Here we go. And then we'll move into the pitching breakdowns. Atlanta weather here. When does the light? Oh, so we have scattered thunderstorms, 40% precipitation before the game starts, and then light rain late. I don't think this one will be a problem. Colin Gregory says under 9, no one wants it, but I'll be on it here. I'm not entirely sure that nobody wants it. They certainly want it from. There's a lot of angles that support the under. Let me just say that. How about that? Let's roll into Freddie Peralta. He's not one of them. 5-7, 4.81 ERA, 3.78 expected ERA, 1.42 WHIP. So his expected ERA quite a bit lower than his ERA. Shout out to Nut Flush Allen in the house. Last time we saw Peralta it's just similar. He's not pitching very well. 5 earned runs over 4 innings at the Jays. He didn't look good. He didn't look in control. He didn't look dominant. He didn't look confident. A lot of issues here. 3 of his last 5 starts, he's allowed at least 5. The 5 earned runs was the best of them. He allowed 6 earned runs June 9th at home versus the Cardinals. He allowed 10 earned runs on June 20th at the Phillies. His away numbers are terrible. he's very, very hard to be trusted, and I find it very easy to trust Ronaldo Lopez. What would be a reason why we wouldn't trust Ronaldo Lopez is only that, he was put into the bullpen. Now, this is a Braves team that had a glut of starting pitching and thought that Ronaldo Lopez, was malleable. He was in the bullpen for a while, and then they pulled him out. So his first start was Friday, June 26th. The one before that was April 21st. This is a guy who's not been starting much, but now he's back-to-back starts. So that June 26th start, he went 3 innings, allowed 1 earned run, 3-1 win at the Giants. We were all on the Braves in that one. And then again, Ronaldo Lopez is just a very backable pitcher. And if you're like, well, Ronaldo Lopez won't be in for very long, well, then you say, well, look, I've got the bullpen to lean back on. 2.81 ERA, 1.18 WHIP for the Braves bullpen. Now that I know the Braves bullpen's been lit up over the last 5 games or so, but I still trust them, and their over 30 game numbers tell us to do that. Mets bullpen's now bad over the last 30 games. Struggled over the last 30 games. We've got Justin McKelvey on the over 8.5 here. And Billy says Lopez for his career has gone back and forth between the pen and starting rotation, even when he was with the Sox. So let's talk about the sticks, though. I mean, you want to talk about, if you want angles to support unders, it's these guys just aren't hitting and can't hit. Braves versus Reddies 224, 625 OPS last 30. I mean, it's abysmal. And not much better is the Mets versus Reddies 222, 694 OPS. So there certainly is a lot to back up and under if you can trust Freddie Peralta. First off, we've had 8 cents of movement towards the Braves from minus 121 down to minus 117 and up to minus 129. So 8 cents of movement towards the Braves. Then on the total here, slightly juiced over 8.5 is now a 9 at a flat pick'em, And TJ says the first 3 inning tells the story. Well, let's take a look at that here, because there was some first 3s that I looked at. The big comparison I wanted was the Fought Bueller, because that's an 8.5. This opened up an 8.5. It's a half run higher than the Fought Bueller start. So here, and we're going to get into that. I can't wait to talk about that game. For the first 3 here, so it's a 9. So what should the first 3? The first 3 should be, minus 140 to the over 2.5 at a minimum. So let's see what it is here. The first 3 is, there it is. I just called it minus 140 over 2.5. That's where it should be. I think that's just, an even situation, because if we take an 8.5 at a pick'em, which is the Diamondbacks Padres, this first 3 over is minus 135 to the over. So then if that was the case, if we were comparing the 2 first 3s, this one is more telling that the game will go over is the Diamondbacks Padres one to me. So this is an interesting spot, but we can take it further, TJ, too, because if we take the 9.5 minus 115 to the over in the Rockies Dodgers, so then this should be a 3.5. So the under 2.5 should be like plus 125, I would guess, if they're still showing the 2.5. But we can find that. This one's first 3 is. Yeah, it's minus 155 to the under. I think that these first 3 numbers are pretty much on point. I'd be very interested to see where they move. They probably already should have moved. If we use the Drohan May, which is an 8, the Drohan May and the first 3 here is minus 125 to the under. I don't think that anybody's tipping their cat other than I can't bet the Padres Diamondbacks first 3 under. I think that is the sign. But you're right to say that they're certainly not telling you that the first 3 is going to go under in this one. Okay, so let's take a look at the line history here for the Mets Braves. We've seen them move to the over, and we've seen the money line move slightly towards the Braves. Let's look at the price difference for the Braves first 5 in full game here. And this will be a real if you want to say, is Peralta vulnerable? The Braves full gamer minus 123, And first 5, they're minus 115, which is, I've already gone over this, obviously. This is precisely the reason why I'm not on the Braves. They're saying that there's no advantage here, which is a surprise that there's no advantage here with Lopez over Peralta. So I don't know if I move on this. Wouldn't one expect a price difference that with the way Peralta's been pitching here, going up against a Braves team that, albeit it's not hitting, but I'm a little surprised. I mean, the Mets are plus 114 full game. First 5, they're plus 101. So let's go to the cash flow and see if that leads us to one of these spots here. Cash flow wise, we have 79% of the tickets on the Braves, 56% of cash on the Mets. That's a bit of a surprise. 59% of tickets on the over and 81% of cash on the over. I'm moving towards the over. So, when it's all said and done, I don't feel like I can move on this game, even though this is one I expected to move on. I expected to back Lopez in some form, and I'm not going to be able to. We have Rod's Wacky says, bet under the total in Ronaldo Lopez home starts in the second half of the season on this record since the 2024 season, 7-0. We have TJ on the over in this one. Rod's Wacky says, bet under the total in Atlanta home games after 3 consecutive games versus division rival. Says the unders record since 2024, 23-6. Turnbuckle Tommy says, do you think it could be Lopez never goes deep in the games? I think he's capable of going deep in the games. I mean, he just wasn't stretched out. So Friday, June 26th, he goes 3 innings. Wednesday, July 1st, he goes 5 innings. I think he's getting closer to being stretched out. And remember, I think the Braves bullpen's very, very good, despite what's gone on in the last 5 games. I think when it comes down to it, this is coin flippy. And if you feel like you have an advantage that you have conviction on moving on, I get it. But I not for me at this point. It will be a Mets team total under for Nut Plush Allen. All right, let's move on to 7:45 p.m. Eastern. So this is interesting. So we felt very differently about the Rays-Yankees line and what it should be. I'm very interested to hear what you guys think about this line and what it should be. The Brewers are 55-33. They're 22 games over 500, and they're 11 games over 500 on the road. At the St. Louis Cardinals, who are just 7 games over 500 and only 2 games over 500 at home. We're at Busch Stadium in St. Louis, Missouri. Let's go right into the weather at Busch Stadium, St. Louis, Missouri. Minus 3% runs, minus 9% homers, even for doubles and triples, and plus 5% singles. Let's get into Shane Drohan. Shane Drohan. There's a... I'm trying so hard to focus. We were getting the new air conditioner in downstairs, so there's some noise downstairs. But let's go. Shane Drohan, 3-2, 3.12 ERA, 1.23 WHIP, 3.32 expected ERA. And Billy says Brewers should be a much bigger favorite, and it pains me to say that. So I question that. I wanted to be on the Brewers, but I didn't feel like I needed to come to the show with the bet in my pocket because I had some concerns about the line. Let's talk about Drohan. He's been very good. 5th round pick in 2020 out of Florida State by the Boston Red Sox. His last 3 starts have been so good. Wednesday, July 1st at home versus the Reds. He allows 2 runs over 6 innings. Or 5 2/3. But the Reds have been hitting lefties. And that was back-to-back performances against the Reds. That's not easy to do. 4 1/3. No one runs, 5 Ks, 3 walks, and the 6-5 win at the Reds. Then you face them again, and you handle them again. I was impressed by that. The start before that against the Guardians, there was no Ramirez, so it's much easier. 5 innings, 1 earned run. That was at home versus Guardians. The start before that, he got touched up by the Phillies at home, one of the rare times Drohan's been touched. That's the only time he's allowed more than 3 earned runs in his career, and it's the only... When we say that, those are the only 2 times he's allowed more than 2 earned runs in his career, were June 7th and June 13th here. And TJ says, book showing no concern for May taking that ball off the foot. Another point about that, TJ, is it's not the ball off the foot that I care about. It's the back injury that I care. It's being out of his rhythm. Honestly, the comebacker off the ankle, you think when everyone was talking about that, I was like, look, Dustin May had already allowed 5 earned runs in 2/3 of an inning. Maybe at that point he allowed 4 runs, but he was pitching horribly already. It's the back. So we look at this. Think of it this way. Since June 15th, we're now on July 6th. since June 15th, May is throwing 2 2/3. I mean, how could we not be concerned about Dustin May? 4.80 ERA, 1.27 WHIP. He's got a 3.84 expected ERA. Look, he got the year off to this horrible start, right? 13 earned runs in his first 2 starts, and then he started rolling. And we got to the pinnacle of it all on Monday, June 15th, when he went a complete 9 innings, doesn't allow a run, walks 1 batter, allows 1 hit. He was absolutely spectacular. Absolutely spectacular. And then something tweaks in his back. He allows 6 earned runs in 2 innings in his next start. Then they skip him a start. And then he's already getting hit. And then he takes the comebacker off the ankle. And now he's pitching on 3 days rest. I mean, that's insane. It's such an insane combination. I mean, can you think of anything more ridiculous? You have a pitcher who misses a start with a back injury. And then he comes back and he takes a comebacker off the ankle. And then he comes back on 3 days rest. So TJ says, so we all believe Milwaukee should be larger favorites. All the money on Milwaukee. Line not moving their way puts me on an under. Now, that is very, very fair. Shout out to Resident Codes in the house, man. What's happening, my man? OG low bagger in the house. So let's go here to the bullpens. Both bullpens are pitching a little better now. Better numbers over the last 30. Brewers bullpen 3.83 ERA, 1.26 WHIP. Over the last 30, Cards bullpen 4.03 ERA, 1.33 WHIP. And the Cards bullpen and both bullpens pitching very well over the last little while. Then we get to the sticks, and the Brewers are destroying right-handed pitching. Last 30, 278, 825 OPS, hitting harder and harder as we go. Godfather says Brewers versus right-handed pitching and 4 bats that all grade well. Have a more balanced lineup. Yelich, Churio, Turang, and Contreras, 337 on base percentage, 106 weighted runs created plus. And Robert Franklin not scared. He's on the Brewers money line, and the Cards are hitting lefties, 272, 756 OPS. The Cards have been hitting lefties way better than we had expected here. Rodswag says 9 of the Cardinals' last 10 games have gone under the total. Turnbuckle Tommy says love that under. Okay, so let's get into that line history then. Line history wise, we have no movement on the total, sitting here at an 8.5. There was a 3-cent move towards the over, and it came back. Initially, there was a 5-cent move towards the under, and it came back. We're just sitting here right where we opened. And then on the money line here, we have a 3-cent move towards the Cardinals from minus 101 to minus 104. I mean, I was looking at this when there had been an 8-cent move towards the Brewers, actually a 9-cent move from minus 109 to minus 118. And I was saying, though, that I'm not sure if that's enough. Now let's get into the cash flow here. 74% of tickets, 92% of the cash on the Brewers. Line not moving towards them. Interesting. 65% of the tickets, 54% of cash on the over. Huh. And Billy Frieder says, I don't think the Cards keep the game close by outscoring the Brewers. Yeah, it's got to be May pitching well. There's just not enough for me in this game. There's not enough for me. I certainly think it's a suspect line. I think it's a suspect line for the Brewers, so I'm not going to move on that. I could see the under. I could see why you guys like the under, but now you're expecting May to deliver when he's completely out of his rhythm. The market is the books are telling us that he is going to do that. I agree with you guys because why is this line not moving to the Brewers? It's not because the Cardinals are going to destroy Drohan. So, and then Fireside saying the line should be wider with that distribution. Yeah, no, I agree. So I had thought I was going to be on the Brewers today. I'm not going to be on the Brewers. And I'm not going to be on the under either. But I do understand why you guys are on it. TJ says, can May get 9 outs or would the full game be better in your opinion? The books are telling us that this is okay. So here, this is the example I would give. There's times when a trainer will bring a horse back 7 days later. And sometimes we've seen it with low quality horses we don't trust. Sometimes we see it with really quality horses. And that's the trainer saying, look, something went wrong in that last one. We want to get him out there as soon as possible. As soon as possible. He's healthy. Get him out there as soon as possible. That's what they're saying about Dustin May. When that happens, when I was younger, thoroughbred capper, I would fade that horse. What I've learned as I've gotten older is to trust the trainer. I think in this situation, that would lead you to trust the Cardinals' brain trust that they're going to bring back Dustin May 3 days after 3 days rest. This is a pretty tricky spot. So I guess, TJ, that we should trust May. These offenses are clicking. But I guess, I mean, what is these two bullpens are good. And they had a bit of a hiccup, 3-4 weeks ago, but they're good bullpens. I would say that the bullpens and then Drohan and May, it's kind of a wash. I mean, it's just pick. I don't know if I feel like there's an advantage here. Make it make sense. I did not help. And I know this is a show about information. Just trying to give you guys, we're trying to get as much information out there for you guys as possible to make the smartest bets. And the chat does such a great job of that. But I did not help on Friday, and it bothered me. It bothered me all weekend while I was trying to get my eyes back in business. So TJ says he's going to bet both. I should copy and paste that information here. Okay. So we have both first 3 under and full game under here. I guess I get it. Like, I get why you would trust what the Cardinals are doing. Look, this is not a team we thought would be 7 games over 500 at this point. Nufflo says, do you think they're trying to get May working before the All-Star break? Look, wouldn't you be hesitant after the back injury? I don't even care about the ball off the ankle. I just care about the back injury. The thing is, I guess we should just trust the Cardinals implicitly. And if we do, that would lead you to first 3 under, but it's not going to happen for me. Let's roll on. And I know TJ is going to start laughing when I'm more interested in the under with Fott and Walker Buehler, but 9:40 p.m. Eastern, Arizona Diamondbacks 44-45, 17-25 on the road at San Diego Padres 44-45, 23-21 at home here. So here we go. We have Sharpie says it's another bad matchup metric-wise for Dustin May as well. Let's talk about this spot, Petco Park. We're not dealing with the marine layer tonight. It's just minus 5% runs, minus 2% homers, minus 9% doubles and triples, minus 4% singles. So it's not really run suppressing, 2 runs suppressing here. We have Fott's pitched in 14 games at the major league level. He started 4 of them. He made 3 starts in AAA Reno. He was pitching in relief at the time. Look, I would like to romanticize the situation for Brandon Pfaadt, understanding that if he wants to pitch in Major League Baseball, he better step up here, or he could be out of the league, man. Step up here right now. This is a crucial start for him. His last start at home over the Giants was really good. 5 1/3, 3 hits, 1 earned run. It was a solo shot, 2 Ks, and a walk. 8-2 win at home over the Giants. It was a really good start. And this is a crucial start for him to stay here in the show. Turnbuckle Tommy says this is his favorite under on the board. And Nutflush Allen says, let's not forget where the Padres just played. Yes, and very, very, very important. It's something that Nutflush is taking advantage of over and over and over again. His teams, and it's for me, and I believe for Nutflush, it's just Dodgers, Giants, and Dodgers, Padres. And when these games mean so much, and now you come back in the Diamondbacks roll in town. Now, it is still a divisional game. So let's get into Walker Buehler here. 5-4, 4.61 ERA, 1.38 WHIP. It's got a 4.44 expected ERA. Rod Dwight says, bet against Brandon Pfaadt on the money line when playing against a marginal losing team. 46 to 49% winning percentage. Pfaadt's team record since 2024 season is 1-10. Wow. Walker Buehler was pitching very, very well. He had 5 straight starts where he allowed just 1 earned run, and he hadn't allowed more than 3 earned runs in 9 starts. He was just, really, really pitching at a high level. And then he goes to Chicago in wildly heavy offensive weather, and he gets destroyed for 9 earned runs over 4 innings. It feels like a nice bounce back opportunity for him. It really, really does feel for me like it's a perfect bounce back opportunity for him. And if you look at his home numbers, he's been lights out here, and they just get better. His last start at home was versus the Dodgers, 1 earned run over 5 1/3. The start at home before that was versus the Reds, 1 earned run over 4 2/3. The home start before that versus the Phillies, 2 earned runs over 5 1/3. Start before that at home, Athletics, 3 earned runs over 5. Before that, at home versus the Cardinals, 2 earned runs over 6 innings. He's pitching at a very high level. Now, would Fott be able to follow? Is Fott going to be able to follow up that strong start, knowing that his career is on the line? I don't think that's a reach. I really don't. Let's talk about the bullpens. All of a sudden, the Padres bullpen's not to be trusted. 4.78 ERA, 1.49 WHIP. It's a surprise. This is a bullpen that, has been the best bullpen in baseball for a year and a half. So watching them fall off is a surprise. And then the Diamondbacks are starting to pitch really well again out of the bullpen. This was a bullpen that was way better than expectations. Ronnie Lofton and I were talking about it in the chat, how this is a bullpen to trust. And then all of a sudden they start getting lit up, and now they're back to pitching well. And then let's talk about the sticks. The Padres versus righties. I mean, how much of those stats here over the last little while do we say it's just because they've been in ridiculously offensive weather, which is something we never say about the Colorado Rockies. San Diego Padres, because they have the marine layer in effect at home. So, but look, this is a team that was playing in Chicago in hugely, hugely offensive weather, and that skewed their stats. When they came into that series, they were hitting horribly. I mean, this is a team that couldn't hit at all. And it was just, what am I saying? I mean, it was just 3 games in Chicago. And they didn't even destroy in those 3 games, even though they were in very offensive weather. So, by the way, Sharpie says the Royals send out a poverty lineup versus Sanchez. JPZ says, so Buehler goes 5. Who comes in after that? Shout out to JPZ in the house. Let's take a look at the bullpen usage then for the Padres. Mason Miller can't go today, but he's the only one who can't. Oh, and Adrian Moreon can't go. So everyone else can go. So Bradley Rodriguez can go. Kyle Hart can go. Wandy Peralta can go. Yuki Matsui can go. And their closer, man, Marquez, can go. I guess he's not their closer. Sorry, I was thinking of the of Senzatella and the Rockies. Of course, he's not their closer here. Okay, so again, I gravitate towards an under. I also gravitate towards a big bounce back performance from Walker Buehler. So let's go through the line history here for this. We also have Rod Zweig says bet under the total in Walker Buehler home starts versus division opponents on this record since 2025, 9-1. Says bet under the total in Arizona games after a 1-run loss. Arizona, or the unders record during 2026 season, 10-2. And Nuffle says Arizona familiar with Walker from his time in LA. So let's take a look at that cash flow. I know that Swiggy just had the cash flow up here. So we have 63% of the tickets, 65% of the cash on the under in this one. 62% of the tickets, 62% of the tickets, and 23% of the cash on the Padres. Interesting. I think the market is telling us here that I think the market is telling us here that Fott's going to pitch well. The Fott is going to pitch well. Rob Free, I was pretty caught up last night in just capping today's card. And also my eyes have been a bit of a mess since the surgery on Friday. So I'll look into it now. TJ says, I'll get more joy out of sweating Jimmy's trust in asswipe fought and hoping he cashes and actually betting this myself. There we go. TJ. Okay, so let's get into line history here. We've seen 15 cents of movement towards the Padres. That's I think extremely legit here. So 15 cents of movement towards Walker Buehler. From a total side of things here, we had an 8.5 or 9 minus 120 to the under, now an 8.5 minus 110 to the under. Shout out to Robert Cherry joining us. Then let's get into the price difference at penny here. And the price difference, we have Padres at minus 119, first 5 minus 119. Warbucks saying that Fought is about to get lit up. So, Warbucks and I see this differently. I think the move to the under is appealing. And then let's see if there's been any change on the first 3. Because at 8.5 at minus 110, it should be a minus 120, minus 120 either way. It could be minus 125. There could be a 5-cent move to the over or to the under. And this was much, much more offensive last time we looked. And it still is minus 135 to the over. Bill Fay, do I have Dodgers or Braves? I think we need. I think we need to wait to see what reinforcements come in at the deadline, and that's when we can have some confidence in it. But certainly, the Dodgers are going to be there. And Rod Zwacky took the under 9 last night. Okay, well, nothing has changed to the point where I want to move on anything here, really. I mean, I get this move to the Padres and I get this move to the under. I guess I could keep it real clean and just bet that. I think Buehler's going to bounce back. The full game here is an 8.5, slightly juiced to the over at penny. And the first 5, the first 5 over 4.5 is heavily juiced, which means oh God, nothing is coming out of this game. I thought there would be something. I mean, why would I want to bet an under when the books are telling us that these 2 pitchers will get touched early and then the bullpens will come in and settle everything down? Bullpens that aren't pitching that well right now. We don't have the marine layer in effect. I expect Walker Buehler to bounce back, but they say that he's as vulnerable as Fought. This line, the first 5 is making Fought more expensive. So at this point, I don't need to force anything here the week before the All-Star break, and this just doesn't correlate for me. It's not. There's just not. I understand the move from 9 to 8.5, but I don't understand why the first 3 and first 5 are so heavily juiced to the over. I don't understand if this line move was moving towards the Padres. It's clearly moving towards the Padres, and why is it moving towards the Diamondbacks first 5? So, and if this was like a minus 120, minus 125 for the first 300, say, oh, the under is going to hit. Okay, I'm going to need time for this. I was almost certain I was going to be able to bet something here. I don't feel like. God, I know Walker Buehler is going to bounce back. I think I know that Fought's going to pitch well. I mean, the question is, can I look at the 5.40 ERA, 1.41 WHIP for Fought, and the 4.61 ERA, 1.38 WHIP for Buehler, and say, of course, it's juiced to the over. Maybe I can, because I was looking back at the mistake that I made in the Singer start on Friday. Singer versus the lefty for the Orioles, Trevor Rogers. And when I was looking back, because it opened up at 11, I was like, so ridiculous. But then we had someone in the chat say, that makes sense to me. Look at the numbers for these 2 pitchers. So nobody was focusing on what those pitchers had done. Well, no, I'm not saying no one, but the focus wasn't on what the pitchers had done over the last 2 weeks or 3 starts. The focus was what the pitcher's done as a whole. And if you look at what these pitchers have done as a whole, you could say it's a pretty low first 5 and first 3. Huh. Okay. I'm going to need to sit with this for longer. I was certain I was going to have action, but I don't right now. Let's roll on. 9:45 p.m. Eastern with the Toronto Blue Jays 42-48, 18-23 on the road at the San Francisco Giants 37-52, 18-22 at home at Oracle Park, San Francisco, California. Minus 7% runs, minus 22% homers, plus 3% doubles and triples, and plus 5% singles. Godfather says, Buehler's going to get hit. The question is defense back him up? I mean, he allowed 5 earned runs in his 5 previous starts before that Cubs debacle. So, I guess I'm higher on him than others. But let's talk about this spot, Oracle Park. 2 pitchers that I love. We have Kevin Gausman on the hill versus Landon Roop. Landon Roop, when he took Kyle Harrison's spot in the rotation for the Giants, I was like, we got to trust this. And then Roop started making us so much money. And now Landon Roop has lost 11. His team has lost 11 straight starts of his. They're 0-11 in his last 11 starts. I mean, they're just losing in every conceivable way when he is on the mound. And only a few of them are one-run losses. Most of them are, margin losses here. Yeah, Johnny, 0 would be the answer. Johnny Bender is saying, tell them how many games the Giants have won for Roop. 0 is the answer. So, Roop is struggling. Last start, 2 2/3, 6 earned runs. That was at Arizona. He is struggling. Let's talk about Gausman. I was telling you guys that Gausman's velocity down, because it was. And then he shows up for that start Tuesday, June 30th, and he throws 96 immediately. And I'm like, oh, I would have lost the bet. If Gausman throws 96, he's elite. If he throws 93, 94, he gets hit. So it's nice for live betting. Live betting, you go out there and you see that he's throwing 93, 94, you fade him immediately. And if he's throwing 96, you back him. He looked very good in that last start. 3-0 loss at home versus the Mets. He shoved. He looked very, very good. He had allowed 13 earned runs in his previous 8 innings. Before that, 4 of his last 5 starts, he allowed at least 4 earned runs. But it's velocity, and he had it last start. He knows how important these starts are. We talked about that start at Wrigley. Is that the last time he was going to be at Wrigley's? Is this the last time he's going to be at Oracle? We know that these are very important. He did not handle that Wrigley start well, though. He allowed 7 runs in the first inning. All right, so let's talk about these bullpens here. Giants bullpens being bad. 5.21 ERA, 1.41 whip over the last 30. Jays bullpen, 3.17 ERA, 1.29 whip. So the Jays bullpen is being, really trustworthy here. We also have the Stacks play of the day in this, Devers. We have Devers for our guy, Justin McKelvey, and it is Devers over 1.5 bases at plus 140. Devers over 1.5 bases. Stacks play day number 1. Shout out to our guy, Justin McKelvey.
Stacks, 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 stacks. Stacks, 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 stacks.
Speaking of the sticks, the Jays have not been hitting. 243, 685 OPS last 30 versus righties, while the Giants have been 242, 752 OPS, but you can see those numbers dropping, but they're dropping for both squads here. Turnbuckle Tommy says Gausman with 56 plate appearances, or Giants 56 plate appearances versus Gausman, 407 average, 1.151 OPS, sticking the ball in the house. And Nuffler saying Roop can't find his control right now. Rod Zwacker says Jays can't hit a beach ball and they're chasing shit pitches. Says Jays ass. Okay, let's take a look at the line history then for this spot. We've seen it move towards the under. This opened up at an 8 minus 115 to the under, which was sort of high for Oracle and these two guys. But it drops down to 7.5. And then on the money line here for our next spot on the board, money line here, we have the Giants opening up minus 102. They're now minus 103. Not much there. Cash flow for this spot. interleague action. We have 73% of the tickets on the Jays, but just 27% of the cash. So bigger bets coming in on the Giants. 59% of tickets on the over and 79% of cash on the over, and it's dropped a half run. That's very interesting that it has dropped a half run in this spot. But I think it was a higher total. Let's take a look at what the first three is here. And it's not, I'm not, with the question marks around Gausman's velocity, I'm not rushing to bet it, but let's see. It should be expensive. So the first three unders minus 155, it's expensive. It's really expensive. Matty Ice in the house. The Taint play of the day is in. Look at that. Look at that. Taint is not afraid that Roop has lost. The Giants have lost 11 straight Roop starts. Wow. Taint play of the day is in. We have a Taint sighting. Taint. Taint play of the day is the San Francisco Giants. Well, I assume what we should do here is trust the books here on a real low scoring game here, you know, with Gausman continuing his velocity increase from the last start. The first five here at Penny is a minus 108 to the over 4. So there's not much telling there. We have the Blue Jays minus 107 full game, and first five they're minus 103. So Roop is Giants are minus 102 full game. First five minus 111. We got Ricky Levine in the house. Says Jays are 2-8 on Mondays. And Matty Ice saying, Arise, Endeavor is going to have a field day today. Wow, this is I'm a little more hesitant than I'd expected to be on this card. We'll go do a complete review right after this game. Let's roll into the next spot, 10:30 p.m. Eastern. The Colorado Rockies 37-54, 15-29 on the road at the LA Dodgers 59-32, 29-15 at home. We're at Dodger Stadium in Los Angeles, California. Let's take a look at, and I'm going to be here very soon in LA, man. Days away from LA for me. We have Dodger Stadium even 4 runs, plus 16% homers, minus 2% doubles and triples, and minus 5% singles. And Low Key saying Gausman back in familiar territory. He will pitch inspired, says our guy Low Key here. So let's roll here. Dodger Stadium, we have Kyle Freeland, the lefty, going up against Eric Lauer, the lefty. Kyle Freeland, the books really seem to have a sense of when Freeland is going to pitch well. The line either doesn't move when they're a huge dog or moves slightly in their favor, or the line just doesn't make sense where, you know, the Rockies are way higher thought of than usual. Neither is happening here. This is a massive move towards Eric Lauer and the Dodgers, which we will get into shortly. A massive move. Freeland 2-7, 7.25 ERA, 1.60 WHIP's, got a 5.56 expected ERA. Again, he's had a funny season. It started really well. He had 3 great starts, and then IL, left shoulder inflammation. He came back and he started just getting annihilated. He's had a couple quality starts within getting annihilated, and I just mean 2. In fact, I mean 1. He's had 1 quality start, and that was at home versus the Pirates on June 19th. So he's had 1 quality start over his last 9, 10, 11, 12 starts. 1 quality start over his last 12. Insane. Absolutely insane. Rockies first 5 team total over 1.5 for Matty Ice. And by the way, Nutflesh says Gausman knows this mound and park and will keep San Francisco bats quiet. Roop will look like a Cy Young against these Jays bats. In the honor of a World Cup, this is a draw. 0-0 game. Wow. Matty Ice says, bet the Rockies first 5 team total over 1.5 and then go to bed, fellas. And Kong shouting us out from Panama City Beach. Shout out to Kong's Clips. There is the Sweaty Butcher in the house. What up, Sweaty Butcher, my man? So Freeland has looked bad. That last start, he looked pretty good. 6-3 win at home versus the Marlins. He only allowed 2 earned runs over 5 innings, struck out 7 and walked 1. But the books aren't telling us here that he's going to be good. Let's talk about Eric Lauer, 4.84 ERA, 1.27 whips, got a 5.07 expected ERA. If we put a line through everything that happened in Toronto and then only focus on what he's been doing in LA, he's having a good season. Now, let's get those exact numbers because I've just got each start here. But, he's I can't believe the Jays just got rid of such a high character guy in Lauer just because he got off to a bad start. I was absolutely astonished, and I expected it to blow up in their face. And, I think it has. When we get to what we've seen from him thus far as a Dodger, he's got a 2.88 ERA and a 1.05 whip. He's throwing 34 in the third. Look, he's not getting strikeouts, but he's getting soft contact. 18 strikeouts and 9 walks. He's just, pitching at a high level. Now, I could definitely understand going over the first 5 team total over. It's nothing like that. It's just that he's pitching very well. He's had now 3 straight quality starts. He's had 4 quality starts in his first 6 appearances for the Dodgers here. Just rolling and rolling and rolling. Bullpen-wise, both bullpens are struggling. The Rockies' bullpen has improved to the point where they are struggling. They're not atrocious as they had been. They've improved. Look at this run they're on last little while. Hard to believe that it will continue. Rockies bullpen 4.93 ERA, 1.58 whip. Dodgers, that's last 30 days. Dodgers bullpen 4.79 ERA, 1.39 whip. Not pitching at a high level. And then with the sticks, the Dodgers are hitting lefties, sort of hard. 242, 757 OPS. Rockies are hitting lefties, sort of hard. 297, 90. Oh, I feel the air conditioning coming in. That's a good feeling, man. This is a good feeling. Okay, let's get into the line history here for this spot. 34 cents of movement towards the Dodgers from minus 170 to minus 240. 44 cents. Why am I saying 34? 44 cents of movement. A massive, massive move towards the Dodgers, reminiscent of this massive move we've seen towards the Philadelphia Phillies. And then we've seen a full run move to the under from 10.5 to 9.5. 10.5 to 9.5. Justin McKelvey moving on that over 9.5. Warbucks on the Dodgers minus 1.5 here in this spot. Look at the price difference. Let's look at the price difference, and then we'll do a review of these 8 games. It's a tricky card, trickier than I thought a bunch of things would illuminate when we've been talking, and maybe some have. But I'm telling you, my plan is if I don't have a ton of action here, and that's okay. You take what the league gives you, take what the schedule gives you, focus everything on Tuesday's card, which is what I will do. We have the Dodgers minus 221 over at Penny full game. First 5 minus 197. So we have the Rockies at plus 199. First 5 plus 168. Wow. And Swiggy says 2 games with 50-cent movement here. Turnbuckle Tommy says Dodgers 284 average, 131 rated runs created with an 823 OPS over their last 7 games. And Tommy says Rockies batting 304 with a 159 weighted runs created plus and a 0.257 ISO over the last 7 games. But it says, remember, all those games were played in Coors. We have Daniel Hernandez looking at the Rockies plus 1.5. All right, let's do take a look at the cash flow that will, be important here for this spot. We have 91 and 89 on the Dodgers money line, and then 58% of the tickets on the over and 94% of cash. 94% cash on the over, and this has not gone up. Fascinating. Huh. They're telling us that the under is in play, but if I bet the under, I know fucking Freeland's going to allow 7 runs in the first 2 innings. But they're certainly implying that we should move on that under. So let's just look at what the first 3 under is here. And, it should be this one. It should be like a 3.5 minus 125 to the under, basically. Now it's gone down to 9.5. So maybe it was there. Maybe now it's a minus 145. Let's say that. Let's take a look at what let's say it opened up under 3.5 minus 125. Now it's under 3.5 minus 145. We go there. Wow, under 3.5 minus 160. Wow. Linda, it's great to see you. It's been too long. I hope all is well with you and the fam. Wonderful to see you, Linda. A low key says on the under for sure, and AM says a 10.5 opener. Dear God. Sharpie says the vulnerable pitcher here is Freeland to the under. Says Lauer will do his job tonight. Yeah, I agree. And I think with the Rockies bullpen pitching better, why don't we just take a quick look at the bullpen usage for the Rockies, because they are also the questionable bullpen who has been pitching better. And man, Bernardino, Herget, Vodnik, and Romano all went yesterday. Romano's gone back to back. So that's a problem. They're going to need Freeland to pitch deep. That's a real problem. Huh? The Rockies bullpen is a problem. Warbuck says Dodgers 11 and 20. So it's 11 overs, 20 unders in division games. That's a great stat, Warbucks. Thank you. Well, the under has become appealing here. I just wonder what the best way of handling it is with this bullpen being used the way they have. I mean, that's a lot. I mean, they had, 86 pitches from the bullpen yesterday. That's too much. Those are big pieces. I respect that it's going under, but I think I would be more comfortable, unfortunately, backing Freeland. Let's do something here because we have a short. We're going to go into the WNBA next, but we have a short list of games. So I would like to let's dive a little deeper into, because I know Freeland has a rich history against the Dodgers. So let's take a look at Freeland's splits here, and then focus as well on Chavez Ravine. So first we'll start with his splits. Versus the Dodgers this year, he's throwing 4 innings. He's allowed 8 earned runs. That came at Dodger Stadium. 4 innings and 8 earned runs. God, get that smile he's got on his face. It looks like the smile of someone knows that he's cost you money. He's like, what are you going to do about it? Okay, the 2025. Let's take a look at the splits in 2025 here for free. Look at that smile. What the hell are you going to do about it? I'll take more of your money. Dodgers here. Against the Dodgers in 2025, he was great. 9 2/3. He allowed just 3 earned runs. And at Dodger Stadium, he was excellent. 1 earned run over 5 2/3. Let's go back to 2024. 2024 against the Dodgers, 4 earned runs over 6 innings. And at Dodger Stadium, that was his only start. So what the hell happened? What the hell happened in that start? Let's just go to his game logs here. Let's go back to that start. 15-6 loss on May 26th. And Betts homered off him in the first inning. Then Hernandez and Pajes both homered off him in the third inning. Then he loaded the base. He allowed 8 earned runs in his first 4 innings. And let's just go back and see how he was pitching at the time. So here we go. And he was pitching. No, he was pitching bad. I mean, that month of May, he was just an atrocity. 12.46 ERA. He allowed 10 home runs in 21 2/3. He followed that up with a much better June, where he allowed 4 home runs, but he still allowed 22 earned runs over 29 2/3. Look, I mean, how are we supposed to sit back and actually trust Freeland? Okay, I think I'm trying a little too hard to make a bet here. I think, and Freeland just cost me money over and over and over again with that fucking grin. So let's do a review of all of the MLB action here for Monday, July 6th. Turnbuckle Tommy says Freeland 6.38 ERA at home, 8.31 on the road. I know Freeland's just it's like he gets told whether I've bet on him or not. Give us me a goddamn. Okay. So let's do a review. the under 8.5 in the Phillies Royals game, I can't get there though with the way Sanchez has been pitching on the road, and maybe this is a perfect opportunity for him to bounce back. Yankees first 5, I like a lot. I like a lot. Let's see if there's been any. So we saw there was 7 cents of movement towards the Yankees full game since the show started over at Penny, which is a good sign. Let's see if there's any more. No, it's still there. Just say minus 103 and minus 111. 8 cents. 8 cents of movement, or 8 cent different. That's bad. That's bad. So that means that when it moved towards the Yankees full game, it moved away from the Yankees first 5, because I got it was minus 115. I got minus 110 at Bet Online, but it was minus 115 at Pinnacle. Now it's minus 111. Oh, that's not good. This is not good. Okay, then let's look over a couple more spots here. Astros, Nats. I know a lot of you guys are on the over. The storm's going to come in, makes me uncomfortable. Mets, Braves. I do not trust Peralta at all. I do not trust him, but this line's just not going to let me get to the Braves here. So let's move on to here. We have the Brewers, Cardinals. Look, I want the Brewers, but they should be bigger favorites. That would imply that Dustin May is going to pitch well, but I need there to be some correlation. There's times where we will make a move solely based on the market, but God, I can't get here. And then the unders in the Diamondbacks Padres game and the first 5 under, I couldn't get there, and I'll see if I can get there after the show. Matty Ice taint play of the day is the San Francisco Giants at minus 105. And then, I mean, it just feels like I'm trying too hard to get. I'm not going to get to this under in Colorado, LA Dodgers. Not with the way the bullpen is for the Rockies. And, wow. What a strange card. All right, let's move on into the WNBA here. WNBA, there are moves that I want to make here in WNBA, but I wanted to talk about with you guys. Let's get into it. We start at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. The Golden State Valkyries, 14-7, 4-4 on the road at the Washington Mystics, 10-9, 4-4 at home. We're at Care First Arena, Washington, D.C. Let's get into the line history to get us started and the cash flow. We've had a move towards Golden State. Gone from 4.5 to 6. I see some 6.5s on the board here. And I have interest in going up against the line move. Total opened up at 157 is now 156. I think the most important part of this line move is just that Sonia Citron is out of the lineup. And that's a problem. When we get to the cash flow here for this one, 59% of the tickets are on Golden State and 82% of the cash. I imagine 6.5s will be everywhere here soon, even though Hard Rock and BetMGM are hanging 5.5s, juice towards the Valkyries. 78% of tickets on the over and 82% of cash on the over. So here we go. The Valkyries opened up their 5-game Eastern road trip with their 4th straight win in 8 and 10 games, winning at Atlanta on Saturday, 88-83. It was the 3rd time they've beaten Atlanta in the last 2 weeks. And we talk about how familiarity breeds contempt. And those were very intense basketball games. They're not going to find that intensity at Care First Arena here in Washington, D.C. The Mystics are also coming in off a win over Atlanta. They defeated the Dream 81-76 at home on Thursday. So they've won the first 2 games of this 4-game homestand. As I said, Citron is out, lingering right knee soreness. So she's going to miss 2 straight games. But she also sat out that win versus Atlanta. Warbucks on Mystics plus 6.5, 5-0 against the spread as home dogs. I'd like to join you, Warbucks. Justin McKelvey on the under 158.5 or minus 110 here. And AM says I made this game Valkyries minus 5.3. Says probably won't bet this game, but Mystics plus 6.5 has value to him. So Citron's been having a massive season. So she is a loss. But again, they just handled it versus Atlanta without her. And why? Shakira Austin stepped up for 21 points and 9 boards. Kiki Iriafan, 14 points and 10 boards. That's her 8th double-double. She's rolling. And then they have Alicia Flores stepping up off the bench with 13 points and 7 assists. That's massive. Amour went for 11 points. They're getting a lot out of their team. Turnbuckle Tommy says no Citron Valkyries defense. Give me the under. Billy Friedrich, Gabby Williams over 14.5 points. We're going to get into that here in a second. And I am going to bet the Mystics. I'm not betting them now. I think that the public will keep betting Golden State. And I think with the Citron being out, there's going to be more and more talk about that. More and more talk. So that is the plan at this point. And it's not going to change. I'm going to be on the Mystics. I'm going to wait very patiently for a line. I think I'm with Warbucks. I think that Mystics can step up at home and make this a basketball game. Godfather says seeing Citron as a game time decision. I had game time decision, but ruled out for Monday's game against the Valkyries due to lingering right knee soreness. Billy Friedrich says sees her having player props. I mean, there's just no way this would have had that 2-point move if she was in. So I have her as already ruled out, but let's check out a couple things here. Okay. Rob Free saying they have her injury update. Yeah, they have her questionable. Bullets Forever has ruled her out. So their website. Their website's ruled her out. Bullets Forever website. They're saying that she's not going to play. So this will be a tough one. And said, so I don't know, but their website, Bullets Forever, has her ruled out. Warbuck says coach's decision. So we'll see. I certainly don't expect her to play. Oh, no, I feel you, Godfather. Yeah, so it's just, this is the one site that has her listed as out. Bullets Forever website here with WNBA news. It's the Washington Wizards community site, whatever. Well, it's a Wizards community site. But I'm going to wait. So I expect her to be ruled out, and we shall see. And then the line will look. This line does not move to 6.5 if she was going to be in, but we shall see. Let's move on to the next spot on the board here. Connecticut Sun, Minnesota Lynx. We're at the Target Center in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Now, stick with me on this one here. First, let's get into the line history and the cash flow. We have 167.5 down to 165.5. And then on the spread, we've seen this go from 15.5 down to 13. So it's a 2.5-point move towards the Sun, who've been playing much, much better. Then let's get into the cash flow here. Here we go. We have 52% of the tickets on Connecticut, but 70% of the cash on Minnesota. So 52% of the tickets on on the Sun, and 48% of the cash on them. 50% of tickets on the under, 60% cash on the under. So this is how I see this game here. This is the first of a home and home between these two teams. The Sun come in off having their modest 2-game winning streak snapped to 86-83 loss at home to the Wings on Thursday. That concluded a 6-game homestand. The Connecticut Sun have been playing really well. They're well coached, and they're playing better after a horrific beginning. But we've seen this in the NBA, and it'll be more dramatic in the NBA, I assume. But this is a very, very weird one-off road game for the Connecticut Sun. This is their first road game since June 10th. And they come right home to play the same team again. It is a very, very strange situation for them. In the NBA, in this environment, teams fail miserably. When they have a long homestand and then they go on the road for one game and come right back, their ATS, they get destroyed. Now, again, WNBA is different than the NBA. But I'm going to stick to certain things that work in the NBA. Now, we know you don't fade a team when they're – sorry, you don't back a team when they lose their star player. You fade them, that the opposition attacks them. But anybody who's been watching the Connecticut Sun play would see a 15.5 and bet them right away. That was my first instinct. So I see the move to 13. I'm like, oh, that makes so much sense. Connecticut's not playing so much better. And then you start sitting with the scheduling. One road game. That's it. They're going away for one road game. And let's not forget what the Lynx are going through. The Lynx coming off a 99-86 loss at the Liberty on Friday to snap their 2-game winning streak. They're angry. So my initial Blackdoor King in the house. So and Warbuck saying Lynx probably rest Miles with that calf. I mean, I have, where is it here? I have the whole injury report up here, and I didn't think that Miles was a problem. God damn, I've lost it now. So annoying. Let me just move back to this here. Okay, so let's go over. Now, of course, if Miles is rested, that's different, and she is questionable. Okay, well, that's crucial. And thank you for mentioning that, Warbucks. That is absolutely crucial. Billy Friedrich says Sun have only lost 13 times this season by 13 more. Oh, yeah. The first thing that jumped out at me was that Sun have to be bet. And then I sat with it to try to understand why the line would be as big. And it's the one-off road game. These are just horrible. Am says Lynx minus 14.5. Says I have Lynx minus 17.9. Lynx smash and grab. Could care less about the line movements. Well, let's wait and see here. Let's wait and see here. Because if Miles is in, that is what I'm going to need. Now, if Miles is out, we'll see what the line difference moves to. Billy Friedrich says Lynx haven't played a home game since June 21st. Yeah, I understand that, but they're coming off of a loss. I think it's a much more, coming back home after you haven't played at home for a long time is fine, because look how long they've been off. That game, they lost at Liberty on Friday. It's not like they're coming home rushing to do all these things. They had enough time to do it here. So sorry, Turnbuckle Tommy said you don't think everyone is on the Suns with that. Oh yeah, I think everybody. I mean, that was the first thing I thought of was you got to bet Connecticut at this number, and then I was like, why is it this big of a number? Okay, so listen, I'm happy that I haven't moved on anything. Warbucks makes such a great point, about Miles. I mean, obviously we need her in. So I plan to fade the Connecticut Sun, which is not what I had planned, because I was like everybody else. How could it be 50.5? And now I realize how it could be. So I'm with AM, but I'm going to wait here. I need Miles in. Just my 2 cents. Let me get that all copied and pasted. Thank you for sharing that with us. Okay, so let's move on to game 3. I still believe that I could quite likely have action on all these games. Well, as soon as this show's over, I'm going to attack tomorrow's MLB card intensely. So, and Billy Friedrich says, so are the tickets and cash on the Lynx and the line is still moved in that direction? Right now for cash flow in that one, we have 48% of the tickets on the Lynx and 70% of cash on the Lynx. And then John Bender says line down to 13 baiting. I wonder if that line move has to do with Miles being out. I think there's a lot of ways of looking at it. We just need to stay in our shoes and just wait for more information. All right, let's roll. We move on to the final spot on the board, and we reach our guy Justin McKelvey's stacks play today number 2. It's on the Seattle Storm. Storm 5-17, 1-9 on the road. Sparks 8-10, 3-6 at home. Crypto.com Arena in Los Angeles, California. What do you like in the WNBA more to? A college basketball or NBA? I think that is a question that I need to ask myself here when capping these games. Storm coming up their second straight loss, 77-72 at home to Portland on Saturday. And the Sparks are, of course, dealing with injuries to Kelsey Plum and Cameron Brink. and they've been off since losing their second straight game. We'll go over all that in a second. Let's start with the line history here. Line history-wise, we have Los Angeles opening at -4.5, and there's been a ton of movement. God damn. Annoying. So this moved down to 3, and I was going to fade that line movement. Now it's a 4. I guess that should give me more confidence in it, but I'm not pleased with it. And then from a total standpoint here, we had a 174.5 drop down to 173.5. Cash flow wise here, 78% of tickets are on the Sparks and 90% of cash on the Sparks. That's a lot of money on the Sparks, which is uncomforting. This got all the way down to 2.5. Are you serious? This was a 2.5 at 9:30 this morning. Wow, I did not know that. 67% of tickets on the over and 52% cash on the under. So Warbuck saying when the Sun moved Nelson Odada to the starting lineup, they've been tough to beat since. So here, AM says Storm +4, make this line Storm +1.5. Rob Free says sees a 4.5 for Seattle. Wow. Okay, so this is how I see this. If you compare WNBA to the NBA and that's your focus, then I don't see why the Sparks would be appealing. If you liken WNBA to college basketball, then I think the Sparks are appealing. So they've been off since losing their second straight game, 111-87 at the Fever 9 days ago. On Saturday, June 27th. 9 days ago. And now they begin a 3-game homestand. It's not easy playing without Plum. Brink, I mean, sure, she can help off the bench at times. And there's a lot of times where she was playing 9, 10 minutes a game. I think that all of this practice time to really put a plan together with Plum out of the lineup is hugely advantageous. Hugely. Think about this rest advantage. The Storm coming off their second straight loss at home, 77-72 at home to Portland on Saturday. So then yesterday they head to LA, and now they're ready to play again on Monday. The Sparks team's been practicing, and I think it will really, really help them here. I think they can put together a really solid game plan, have plays that they can call that the opposition isn't going to be expecting, be able to have a bag of tricks. I mean, that's a lot of practice days to get healthy, get comfortable, and get rolling. And I did not think that I would want the Sparks. And I think this is a very important test. 9 days. 9 days ago was their last game. They have been at home practicing. So Turnbuckle Tommy says, we saw what happened to the Tempo yesterday with 7 days off. No. What happened with the Tempo yesterday was their point guard was ruled out, and the coach didn't know it until 10 minutes before the game. Their point guard was ruled out. They had to have a point guard by committee. I mean, that's back-to-back games where they've had a crucial player. It was Mabry the game before, and then Alaman the last game. Look, that if anybody knew that the Tempo were playing without a point guard yesterday, they would have been faded immediately, hammered against Beckers and Fudd. I mean, you need a point guard. So, no, I don't think it's a rest. I think that the rest will help. I really, really think the rest will help. It seems like it's just Warbucks and I on this side. But when I saw this line, I thought, well, nobody's going to want the Sparks. Everyone's going to want the Storm because of what they've seen from the Sparks without Kelsey Plum. I think this move back is sharp action. I think the Sparks should be bet immediately. So, yeah, Turbo Tom. Julie was supposed to play. The coach came out today or last night and said, it's so hard to deal with this. I didn't know that Julie wasn't going to play until 10 minutes before the tip-off. And then they had no point guards. So, okay, well, I think the Sparks should be bet as soon as possible. I can still, I can still get a 3.5 right here. I'm just going to plug this in here. Sorry. Okay, so, and we'll see. We'll see. This is, I'm concerned going up against Justin McKelvey, but I have the conviction here. I have the conviction here. And the conviction is, and I can't wait to test it out. Sometimes you need to invest in theories, but I think this is hugely, hugely, hugely important to have 9 days off and be able to practice at this time of the year. Something the Storm have not been able to do. I think this is a really tough spot for the Storm personally. Okay, so let's review WNBA for Monday, July 6th. The action I have, I'm waiting for the other game. So I just bet the 3.5 minus 120, and I'll post it. I'm gonna hold back on the Mystics, and I'm gonna hold back on the Lynx here. And Turnbuckle Tommy says, I don't know if I can trust the team to cover multiple possessions when they can't get stops, though. That's what scares me. Look, I think there's a lot to fear here. And again, you have 9 Legacy on the Storm. 9 Legacy's been crushing. All right, let's do a review of our action plays of the day. Sorry. Didn't you say back teams missing star players? Well, it's not about backing teams missing star players to me. It's more about the other side of the coin. It's that when a team in the NBA team loses their star player, we back them always because the opposition doesn't take them seriously. In the WNBA, when a team is missing their star player, that other team is out for blood. They just want to win. There's a lot more consistency and character in the WNBA than we see in the NBA. So it's more about. So in the WNBA, I will fade teams when they're dealing with injuries. How about that? Fade them. In the NBA, I won't do that, to make it clear. All right. Daniel Hernandez says, excited to talk about the World Cup. We have Jose joining us for the rest of the week, so we'll be doing a lot of talk about the World Cup. But the first thing that we can do here is talk about Pig Milk Play of the Day and go through the line history for Belgium, America. Pig Milk Play of the Day is Belgium to advance at plus 105. Says the last North American squad is eliminated tonight, which I do not want. So Pig Milk Play of the Day is Belgium to advance at plus 105. There's been a 17-cent line move towards Belgium from plus 177 to plus 160. In the first game, Portugal, Spain, this one popping off in 3 hours and 9 minutes. Very little line movement here. Very little line movement. Spain opening up minus 107. They're minus 110 right now. Portugal opening up plus 311. They're plus 322. I just put in, I actually didn't send it in, but my brother-in-law did send in a bet for Portugal to advance to plus 175, and I saw no reason to send it in. So I just put that in my old pocket. Joseph Gomez says both teams to score is the better play. And Turnbuckle Tommy says, yeah, I can't back the Sparks with no Plum. Says I've seen them play without Plum and it's no good. No, that's the angle I have, that everybody will be feeling that way, not focusing on the 9 days off to practice. So I get it. Warbuck says USA pulling the belt out tonight like my grandma used to. Now that's Warbucks' grandma. My grandma was drinking heavily and chain smoking. She didn't care about anything over from my side of things. Joseph Gomez says Portugal, Spain 0-0 at the half. His airness says Portugal going to learn about Yamal, the young sniper. Daniel Hernandez says USA. Jose Perez, Spain over 1 here. And Spain over 1.5 for Jose Perez and USA money line in regulation. And for the rest of the week, we'll have World Cup plans and action and bets. I guess because the quarterfinals are set, I should see if we can get Flash on tomorrow. I will reach out and see if we can get Flash on tomorrow here. Nasty Nate says, have positive convos with your friends and fam. Says you never know if you will speak to them again. Nothing's promised. Enjoy every moment. That's beautifully put. Nothing's promised. Enjoy every moment. And I'm very, very thankful to cap with you guys here. Not a lot of action for me at this point. Also, I moved on the Ottawa Edmonton under 57.5 in CFL. It was 58.5. Went 5-5 in CFL this past week. I'm telling you, I'm going to heat up. And now is when I'm going to heat up. I'm watching these games. When I did the eye surgery, I listened to the entire 2 games on the radio, imagined every single thing that was happening, and was planning my ascent in destroying CFL like we've done the last 2 years. Double-digit ROIs the last 2 years. Yes, I'm off to a bad start. I'm not going out like this. So I'm on the under. That was 58.5, Ottawa Edmonton. The Elks are not going to play over football. Now, the other line, there's only 2 lines that are up right now. Let's see if that's changed here. There's only 2 games that are up because they don't know what they're going to do with the Tigers. Both totals have dropped a point. We've not seen that at all in any of these CFL. So the Ottawa Redblacks, Elks opened up at 58.5, now 57.5. And the Stamps Alouettes opened up at 62.5, dropped to 61.5. Another thing that's happened is the Alouettes have gone from -3.5 to -4.5. We'll talk all about this throughout the week, but I've already moved on the under 57.5 in Ottawa Edmonton here. So there we go. Yeah, Sick from the Fall. It's it's a battle. Now, we cashed both unders yesterday, and we cashed with the Bombers plus 3.5. Would we have cashed those if Bo Levi Mitchell, doesn't get hit? I'm not gonna. I thought we were, but I mean, it was a low-scoring game before Bo got hurt. But he's playing at a very high level. But I'm on the under 57.5 in Ottawa, Edmonton, and I'm telling you, our comeuppance is about to happen. Thank you guys so much for rocking with us. Sick from the Fall, Daniel Hernandez, Colin Gregory, Billy Friedrich, the Godfather, Nasty Nate. Thank you guys. His Airness, 93 here. Jose Perez, Joseph Gomez, Justin McKelvey, Warbucks. Thank you guys for running with us, man. Bill Fay. So, yes, Bill Fay, I think teams in the WNBA should be faded when they have injured players, and the opposite in the NBA, to make that all clear. Turnbuckle Tommy, we've been watching you deliver incredible work. AM, thank you for running with us. Rob Free, Johnny Bender, just my 2 cents. Thank you guys so much for rocking with us. Black Door King, Mark A, thank you guys. Shout out to all you guys. Keys in the house, thank you guys for rocking with us. Now let's go get this cash. On behalf of all of Pub Sports Radio, thank you guys for your support. We have 4 minutes until Medicate Monday. Head over there and run with the crew. But in the meantime, let's get this money, man. Leche! Hey, Los Bookmakers, man. Milk that shit.
It's easier to sleep in the black when you're losing your ass and feeling so. You know what to do. Tune in to Pub Sports Radio. Easier to sleep in the black. It's easier to sleep in the black. It's a roller coaster ride, you're gonna catch a bad beat. No problem, keep your head up and just bet the spreadsheet. It's easier to sleep in the black. It's easier to sleep in the black. All thanks to Jeff Slaughter, these shows have our backs. POD's always rolling, especially the stats. Easier to sleep in the black. It's easier to sleep in the black. We got Jimmy, Jose, Dabby and the fam, Dutch Wine Time, Spooner and OG Wham. So hit the like button, don't say that you can't. If you know what's best, just put your money on tape.